welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tina Zink and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I live in Nova Scotia, Canada. And if you're returning, I'm so glad you're back. I have a new card to share with you. The layout is not a new layout. It's a card fold that's been around for many, many years, but it's a card layout that I tend to go back to time and time again, just because it's so perfect for different occasions, different seasons, just by changing up the stamp sets and the colors. So last night I held my card class and I designed this card. Isn't that pretty? And the girls loved it, and I love this card as well. It's actually for my best friend for her birthday, which is December 24th. So hopefully she's not watching this video. But I had a brand new stamper last night. A friend of mine had never stamped before, and she came to the class, and this was one of the cards that she made, and she did a beautiful job. So if you're a new stamper or new to paper crafting, I promise you can make this card. And if you don't have the supplies that I'm sharing, just use what you have. If you live in Canada and you do wish to purchase the supplies, just contact me and I'd be happy to help you out. So let me show you how easy it is to put this card together. Okay, so my card base is the Mary Merlot, and it measures 5.5 by 8.5. So when it's folded, my card base measures 5.5 by 4.25. So I'm just giving it a good rub with my bone folder so I get a nice crisp crease. And then all you do for this fold is you fold up the front flap and you fold this edge to that crease. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That's the card fold. Can't be any easier, right? Now, to give this card a bit of a vintage look, I'm taking my early espresso ink pad and a Stampin' sponge. And I am going to sponge on the edges, and this just adds a really nice finish to the card. So I'm going all along the top and the sides and the bottom, and then just that flap right there. Okay, now I have a strip of our pressed Petals Designer Series paper, and this measures 5.5 by 1. So I'm going to sponge the edges on this as well. Sponging is just such an easy way to add a little bit of color, and just it really seems to finish off these cut edges quite nicely. Okay, that's the sponging for now. Now I'm just taking my snail adhesive and put this onto my card. So I'm going to open this up, and this is going to go right along the edge, just like that. Okay, I'm going to set this aside, and I'm bringing in a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and the stamp set I'm using is Beautiful Friendship. I just love this stamp set. I've used this set so much since I got it when the new catalog came out in June. So the images that I'm going to be using for this card is this flower and that sentiment, and then I'm using this little guy in the center of the flowers. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first, and I'm going to use my early espresso and just stamp it down right there. Okay, now the next stamp I'm going to use is from a kit. Now this is the Lots of Happy card kit. I'm looking at page 203 in our annual catalog. This is the stamp set that comes in the kit. So I'm going to ink this also in the early espresso. Now these are both going to be cut with the 2-inch circle punch. So if you make this card, you want to make sure you have enough space between the two of those to punch out. So I'm just stamping them diagonally. Okay, so I'm taking my 2-inch circle punch, centering them inside. Okay, I'm going to take that same sponge with the ink and sponge around the edges of these as well. So I'm going to put the sentiment for the inside on first. So I'm just going to put that right on like that. And then this piece that's going to go on the outside, I'm only going to put adhesive behind half of this, because if I put adhesive behind the whole piece, when you close it, guess what? It's going to stick. So I'm only going to put adhesive on half of it. And then what I'm going to do is close the flap, and then I'm just lining up those two circles just like that, and then pushing down, and then they are lined up perfectly. Okay, so I've got my Rococo rose, and I am going to stamp 2 roses in that color. Now I'm taking my Mary Merlot, which is the same color as my cardstock, and I'm not going to bother cleaning this because I'm going into a darker color, but I want 4 of these. So stamp those down. While I have that ink pad out, I'm going to take this little guy right here, and I'm going to stamp that on the inside of the light pink flowers. And then I cleaned off the ink, and now I'm going into daffodil yellow, and they are going to go into the darker flowers. What I have. And these colors, as I mentioned in my last video, I just pull the colors out of the designer series paper, so that's how I know what colors of inks to use and cardstock to use. Okay, so now it's time to cut these out, and they're actually pretty easy to cut. I'll do one just so you can see how I go around the rose, and then I'll speed up the rest of the cutting. Now these are scissors from Stampin' Up. They're called our paper snips. I really have to tell you that they are, in my opinion, the best paper crafting scissors I personally have ever used. They're super sharp, they're very pointy, and they're super easy to use. See, I just went right around that rose. Whoops, really easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all these roses. I have my flowers cut. Now I'm taking my leaf punch and some mossy metal cardstock, and I'm going to punch out 6 of these leaves. And let's bring my card in, and we are going to start decorating. Okay, I'm going to start with the front. Let's move these over here. And I'm going to have 2 of the dark on each side and 1 of the light on each side of the card. So I am going to put some snail behind this one, and I want it to just overlap on that circle a little bit. Now I'm going to take the second one, again, put some adhesive behind it, and let's see, I want that to go over the flap a little bit, so I'm making sure that there's no adhesive behind that so it doesn't stick. And now for the lighter pink, whoops, I'm taking a Stampin' Dimensional, and I'm going to pop it on top of these, and I'm also making sure to turn my flowers so that the images aren't all going in the same direction how they were stamped. So I'm going to turn that kind of like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here, but because these are on the bottom, I'm going to put these ones on the top. And a dimensional, and turn it that way. Alright, time for the leaves. I'm just putting a little dab on each leaf. You don't need much of this glue. And I'm gonna lift this up a little bit and just kind of tuck that underneath, making sure not to cover up my words. There we go. And another one. I'm kind of making sure when I'm putting down my leaves and flowers that they're hiding the edges of the circle. So it just looks nice. Now the next one, I don't need it as long, so I'm going to trim the little stem off. And let's see. I don't want the leaves to go past the card front too much because it won't fit in the envelope. So for this one, I'm going to snip off one of those leaves. Trim this down just a smidgen. And again, lift this up just a bit. There we go. And then this one, I'll just tuck right in here. Move into the front. I'm going to do the same thing. My dog Rosie and Cooper are in my room sleeping, and Rosie's dreaming, so I'm not sure if you can hear her while I'm filming, but she's talking in her sleep. Now the last one, instead of going down here, I think I want it to go kind of off the flap a little bit. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue just on the stem and on this leaf, because this is the one that's going to go actually right on that white. Again, try and be careful so that it doesn't. Oh, see, I did get some glue there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one of these and I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to put it behind this leaf just to kind of make it look pretty on the opposite side here. Plus it covers up that glue that came on the other side. So looking good. It's going to look even better in a minute though, because I'm going to put some glitter on it. Okay, so I'm taking my fine tip glue and I'm going to add some glue where the white is showing on those flowers. And I'm just being pretty random and sporadic about it. I'm going to put a little dab in the center of each flower too. And then I'm doing the leaves, so I'm just going up each leaf and then I'm just pulling a few little lines through it just to kind of add the veins to the leaves. Okay, glitter. Got a piece of computer paper, and this is our new ice Stampin' glitter. See how pretty that is. I really love this glitter, and I'm not sure if it's being carried over after our holiday catalog finishes, so I, for one, am going to be stocking up on this because it makes me happy. All glitter makes me happy. Don't you just love trying to put this lid back on the fine tip glue? I I have glasses now for reading, the progressive lenses, and I honestly cannot put that lid on without my glasses on. Such a tiny little hole to get that pin in. And we're going to shimmerize this. The girls at my class last night laughed at me because I decorated my champagne shimmer mist bottle, and I'm just using retired designer series paper to put it on because I have so many bottles on my table I couldn't remember what was what. So I know that the decorated bottle is my champagne shimmer mist paint that I've got mixed with 70% rubbing alcohol because I'm addicted to shimmerizing everything. And there is the finished card. It's so nice. I love it. So I am in the stamping mood. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 more cards, and I'm going to keep the camera on, but I will speed it up. I want to try this design using the Beautiful Friendship stamp set and different colors to create a Christmas card, and then a different card. I'm not sure. It might be an everyday card or a thank you card, but I just want to make a couple more, A, because I'm having fun, and B, so that you can see a variety using this exact same layout. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on stamping. Okay, so we've got more cards made. So this was the first one that I made. And this is one I made last night. And the difference between the two, bring this back in, is on this one I have the flowers up at the top, and then on this one I have the flowers on the bottom. Both look nice. And here is the Christmas one that I just finished making. So for this one, I used a strip of Designer Series paper from the Christmas Time is Here Designer Series paper pack. I used Poppy Parade and Cherry Cobbler. The sentiment, this one here, is from Itty Bitty Christmas. This stamp here is from the Greatest Part of Christmas Host set. So there's my Christmas version. And then the last one I made, I used the sentiment here from Butterfly Gala. This is from the Beautiful Friendship stamp set, which is part of the flowers. The card base is Blueberry Bushel, and I use Petal Pink and Flirty Flamingo, and then the leaves are Old Olive. So while the main stamp set used on today's card demonstration is the Beautiful Friendship, imagine changing up the flowers and using something altogether different. And remember, you don't have to use flowers. If you don't want to use flowers, you can use balloons for a birthday card. You could use snowflakes for a winter birthday or a Christmas card. You can just do so much with this technique. So thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate you. Happy stamping!